Access main program grid.
You didn't say the magic word.
Please! God damn it!
Another day, another late night show host allowing their TDS and their unchecked, insane shilling for the DNC get them into trouble. Now, we saw Jimmy Kimmel yesterday getting himself into a fraud lawsuit for misusing cameo videos from a former Republican politician. Well, I guess still Republican politician. We've seen the downward spiral of Kimmel, SNL. Of course, Stephen Colbert's unhinged meltdown over Trump, where he screams like a demon into the camera. That went viral over the weekend. Now, failing late night show host / comedian or whatever, I guess he thinks he calls himself, Jon Oliver, has resorted in the face of plummeting ratings to publicly offering a bribe to a Supreme Court justice. Now, I hear you in the comments saying, well, nothing's going to happen because everyone's corrupt. And you're probably right. But something's got to give. And the more times these unhinged lunatics do these things, I'm hoping at some point there's some Republican judge out there or some Republican who will take a stand against this, because we look at the way the judicial system has been weaponized against, Donald Trump or anybody who dared to attend the trespassing event back in January. I mean, I don't like to get down into the mud and fight with people. I think in general that's bad, but I'm warming up to the idea. Now, get the F off the Supreme Court. Comedian Jon Oliver offers to pay Justice Clarence Thomas $1 million a year and hand him a $2.4 million RV if he resigns from his Supreme Court justice position. A clear bribe. He had the actual device, they had the RV on camera. I mean, to me, this would be more than enough to charge him. It'll be interesting to see if some judge has the stones. Comedian Jon Oliver has offered Justice Clarence Thomas $1 million a year and a $2.4 million motor coach to get the F off the Supreme Court. Jon Oliver, by the way, not a United States citizen. Only in America would Americans be importing these moronic Brits because their funny accents makes them sound funny or sound smart. Only in America where we take the rejects from the UK and pretend like they get our country. I've never seen so many morons, quote tweeting Pierce Brosnan like he understands anything about America, or of course Jon Oliver, or any one of these James Corden, or all these idiots that are dominate late night television shows. I know everyone from the UK always tells me no refunds. I understand, but somehow we also got that idiot Prince Harry too. I can't open a newspaper or open a website without seeing vapid, brainless articles about that do-nothing loser. Anyway, I digress. It comes after a series of investigations that Thomas had failed to declare dozens of lavish trips and expenses paid for by Republican billionaire Harlan Crow. The ensuing scandal called his integrity and impartiality into question, particularly in the wake of heavily politicized Roe v. Wade ruling and his refusal to recuse himself in relation to the J6 trespassing event. I don't know why he would need to recuse himself from that. Nobody ever asks liberal judges to recuse them. Nobody asks a liberal judge to recuse himself from Roe v. Wade. So why wouldn't he? Of course, Oliver joked, a lot on your plate right now, from stripping away women's rights to hearing J6 cases, and you deserve a break, away from the meanness of Washington. So then he outlines an actual bribe. So you can be surrounded by the regular folks whose lives you made demonstrably worse for decades. I would disagree with that. Of course, these payments that came through to Justice Clarence Thomas should have been declared. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I always assume basically every politician's on the take. Doesn't make it okay when they're a Republican either. But that's not what this story is about. Of course, he resisted pressure to recuse himself from matters pertaining to whether Donald Trump could be removed from states' ballots in the presidential election, despite his wife, conservative political activist Ginny Thomas, having endorsed false claims from Trump, allegedly. Look, again, doesn't matter. Nobody ever asked these liberal judges to recuse themselves. You know, the liberal judges who let the invasion on their southern border continue, allow the state of Texas to be literally under attack. But nobody ever asked liberal judges to recuse themselves. It's a ridiculous double standard. Now, referring to these scandals while making his offer on Sunday, Jon Oliver said that, so that's the offer, $1 million a year, Clarence, and a brand new condo on wheels. All you have to do is sign the contract and get the F off the Supreme Court. The clock starts now, Clarence. Let's do this. They went out of their way to get money, cash, and an expensive RV. I mean, this is more than a bit. Now, do I think Jon Oliver really thinks Clarence Thomas is going to take him up on it? I don't know. But to me, I think a case could be made that this offer is legitimate. The promise of huge monetary sums and luxury gifts was a nod to the gifts that Thomas accepted from his friend Crow, who reportedly collected various artifacts and all this other kind of stuff. Again, none of that matters. Oliver said, I know what you're thinking. What would my friends say if I take this offer? Will they judge me as they sit in their boardrooms and mega yachts and Hitler shrines? Will they still treat me to luxury vacations and sing songs about me off their phones? He added, well, that's the beauty of friendship, Clarence. If they're real friends, they'll love you no matter what your job is. So I guess this might be the perfect way to find out who your friends really are. So, I mean, could it be, by the way, could it be? And again, if Clarence Thomas took these bribes or unfairly enriched himself, that's obviously wrong, and it's just as wrong as if a Democrat had done it. Again, I assume basically that everybody is on the take in these various positions. You see, Clarence Thomas says 30 days to resign if he wants millions from Jon Oliver. The liberal media is celebrating this, a outright claim, demand a actual literal bribe. And you see a lot of the replies. 18 USC 21B, Oliver is subject to 15 years in prison and a $60 million fine. But because he is left wing, it's likely that nobody will have the stones to prosecute two-tier system. Well, I mean, 15 years in prison and a $60 million fine sure would be a great way to set an example. I mean, look what they've done to all the people who dared to trespass on the horrible day that was 100 9/11s, according to Nancy Vodka Knockers Pelosi. Okay. I mean, 15 years in prison. I love it. He should get every minute of it. You see a lot of replies here. He should be arrested for bribing a federal judge. Sounds like attempted bribery to me. Time to lock him up. Why does Jon Oliver hate seeing a black man on the Supreme Court? A white man trying to buy a black man on national television in 2024. Bribery for certain results from SCOTUS seems illegal. I mean, a lot of people here are pointing out that while I think obviously they would make the argument that this was a joke, that he was just joking. I would say that there are dozens of people who got locked up for, I mean, you can look at just the journalist, Owen Schroyer, who did federal prison time and never even entered the Capitol because they didn't like the words he used. So, I mean, are we going to live in a country where we constantly complain about a two-tier justice system, or are we going to do something about it? The left hates black conservatives. Why is he trying to take away a job from a black man? So you're promoting bribery, typical Democrat. I mean, if he's really that upset, about, Clarence Thomas allegedly being on the take, why would he offer him more money? And again, I understand that it was satire, allegedly. I understand that Jon Oliver probably isn't going to make $1 million payment to Clarence Thomas every year, as well as a $2.5 million RV. But I am looking at it objectively. which is not what the justice system has done for Donald Trump in his various insane, gigantic financial penalties. It is not what it has done for the American citizens who dared to trespass. And again, look, on that day, there were some people that did some things that had some sort of criminality attached to it, and I'm fine with them getting the appropriate punishment for that. But the fact is they got the maximum, while Democrats had multiple insurrections over the, Palestine crap and all this, and none of them got put in prison. I mean, there had to be a dozen of these sit-ins or die-ins or, going into various Capitol buildings over the last year. But because they were all Democrats, none of them were charged. But because on January they were Republicans, allegedly, right? Not feds, allegedly. All of those people, some of those people took their own lives because they were so distraught about having to go to federal prison for trespassing. And I mean, like, I think that, again, I don't know if, do I think that he was making a joke? Yes. But, I mean, that's not the way our justice system works in this country. And oh, by the way, Jon Oliver's ratings are tanking on HBO because nobody wants to pay for Jon Oliver's show. I know usually I share a link to our main story here on Mondays, but HBO has decided, this is from today or yesterday, they're going to wait till Thursday, to post them to YouTube from now on. I hope they change their mind, but until then, you can see our piece about the Supreme Court on HBO, on Max, and on YouTube in a few days. Well, the reason they're doing that is because nobody wants to pay for Jon Oliver's television show. Last week tonight with Jon Oliver no longer hitting YouTube in the day after airing. We are now delaying that availability in hopes that those fans will choose to watch the entire show on HBO Max. Yeah, I don't think I will be paying for some UK loser, not my UK fans, but you get what I mean, some fake American to go on TV and talk about American values or what American people need to do. Sorry, not sorry. I wouldn't even watch your show for free. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.